Good morning, everybody. Lee Brower here. Welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. I am grateful to be here and I am glad to be here. Where am I? I'm in a garage. I'm hiding. I'm hiding for three of my granddaughters, and we're in Dallas. And so I had to sneak out so I could get this Meaningful Monday to you. This is my second trip to Dallas this week. And so the first trip to Dallas this week was quite the adventure. In fact, the pilot said he had never experienced anything like this in 30 years. But I learned so much. There's such a lesson here. We took off from St. George. They rerouted us. We were on the runway forever. We circled on the airport because of weather in Dallas kept closing and opening, closing and opening. Well, they diverted us to Wichita Falls, but they ran out of fuel. Got us over to a place called Lawton, Oklahoma, which is half the size of where we live, small town, but they were able to get the fuel. Over 10 hours later, after sitting on the plane, we could not get off the plane. Of course, they did not have food on the plane. They had a few snacks. They ran out of water. They finally passed and gave everybody a little cup of water, half full, and everybody on the plane said, "Thank you." Now, here's the amazing thing. It took 10 hours to get there. And you can imagine people are missing their flights. Things are going on. They had places they're supposed to be at. I did not hear one complaint. I'm not kidding you. Not one. The people were talking, they were laughing, and they were kind. And when they were passing around things and doing things, every time the flight attendant did something, you could hear, "Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much." It was just replete with gratitude. And where am I? Did I just land on a new planet a day before the election? And I know what everything's going on in the world. But here is the key. Here was the key. It was the pilot. The pilot was the key because he was very transparent right from the get-go. He kept constant communication, constant gratitude, never said I was sorry. He basically said, "I'm in charge. I'm in charge to make sure you get there safe. I want you to know that I'm doing everything that I can do." He actually went out and picked up the phone at one time not when we were up in the air, but when we were on the ground, and made sure we could all see him. And he smiled and he said, "I know this is tough for all of us, but this is an experience." And then he said, "I'm going to walk down the aisle in case you have any questions." So he walked down the aisle and back and answered questions. I've never seen anything like this. And every time he got on, he just said, "I want to thank you so much for your tolerance and you're hanging in there with us on this. This is an unusual experience." But it was the contagious positivity, and I think the collective resilience of the passengers, that not one complaint, not one. And I started listening for them because I couldn't believe it. So what's the bigger message about this? What's the message that would align with leadership and influence? Think about it. This experience reminded me of what true leaders are. They stay transparent. They express genuine gratitude even under pressure. They model calmness under pressure. And so in doing that, they create a ripple effect, if you will. Okay. They create a ripple effect of grace, positivity, leadership. And that happens even in the most challenging of circumstances. So after we landed, as I was getting off, I made a comment to him, and we landed. The pilot was coming by and he sees me and he made a comment, and I followed him up and had to carry my bags to catch up with him because he was going pretty fast. But we started talking, and I commended him, congratulated him on the fact that he never really said sorry. He just talked about the resilience and he expressed gratitude. I said, "What a great example of leadership." And he said, "The airlines seem to forget sometimes why they're in business." And I said, "Yeah, when I think about it, you're not in the airline business. You're in the business to connect people, families, bring families together for experiences and opportunities, businesses together so they can thrive." And I thought I had the right answer. And he says, "No, my main responsibility is the safety of the passengers." And I was off in this glorious explanation, but he brought it right down to, he says, "That's my main responsibility." And he demonstrated it so well. So I'd like you to consider, how can we be like the pilot? How can you be like the pilot or the passengers in your own lives, especially during contentious times? How can I, ask yourself this empowering question, how can I, through my words and actions, become a source of calm, gratitude, and positivity today so that others can feel inspired and supported? I love the quote by Simon Sinek. Leadership is not about being in charge. It is about taking care of those in your charge. Our collective attitude can either divide us further or bring us closer. It's our choice. So let's choose to be leaders who inspire grace and patience in every action. That's my challenge for this week. Help me, help you, helps us. Have a great, meaningful week, and we'll talk next week. Bye-bye.